Hey, Brent Porcio, this is the @TopVelocity hashtag Pitching Tips Show Season 2. This is about our, I think, 11th episode at this time. I've got Brad Barker here. He's the coach out at TopVelocity, NOLA, TopVelocity New Orleans, that just started off, and pretty excited about what's going on in there. Tell them a little bit what's been going on with NOLA and getting it started.
Yeah, so we got classes going this week. We even have open houses. Open house starts at 7. Classes are going from 5 to 6, 6 to 7, and then just come check it out.
Yeah, man, it's really exciting. We got Keegan Gillis over there, who just got drafted last year. He's a big part of it. He's been over there training.
Yep.
Him and Orzi have been over there.
Actually, he's my boss too.
Yeah, he's your boss too. And Orzi and them are in here today, which is pretty cool to see the guys that have had a lot of success here coming back to train with us. So you'll check them out. Watch our social media. You can also watch NOLA's social media at TopVelocity, isn't it NOLA?
Yeah, TopVelocity NOLA, and that's
Sure.
on all social media platforms.
All right, cool, and follow us, subscribe. All right, if you want to be on the show and you want a question on the show, just ask the question below and we will hopefully get to it and answer it. So we got some good questions for today. Here we go. Can you make a video on how the throwing arm gets up for pitchers? I've watched several videos on it, but none of them explain how the arm gets up there. I just need an in-depth explanation of what the arm does. Something straightforward. People explain that it should be at 90 degrees or less, but they don't explain what parts you should be using to bring it up. I've watched slow motion MLB pitchers and it looks like they drop their arm down and pull it up at the elbow. Can you please make a video with an in-depth description of how it should move and what muscles should be pulling, moving? I'm already made one. If you've already made one, link it to me, please. So I actually did make one a while ago. It was a long time ago. I think you can look up the high velocity arm action, but I'll go through it real quick. So basically the way you got to understand this as it's kind of like a hitter. Front foot strike is really when the most important moment for the arm to be in position. So basically how you break your hands and all that, I'm not really going to get into that, but just know that when you land, your arm does have to be in a set position, because from there on out, your arm is going to go where your trunk sends it. And studies show that the arm receives the energy from the trunk. So if we get it in a good position, as the trunk starts to move, then the arm will be in a good position to launch and release and funnel energy. So where does it need to be? At landing, we obviously need to be elbow abducted, some position around shoulder height, because when we turn, the arm's going to come up. It's always going to come up because that's where the energy, it goes up and forward. So it's going to come up. We just want to make sure it gets up above the elbow, because it's going to lay back. Because laying your arm back with it not above your shoulder, is an issue. If you're down here and laying back, it's too hard on your elbow. So if I'm cocking down here and my arm can't come up above my shoulder, it's a problem. So somewhere around shoulder height is essential, so your arm can get above your shoulder when it lays back, okay? Also, too, people say, how do I lift it up there? I think one of the questions he was asking is, how do I lift it up there? So basically your scaps is the first thing. So you're loading the kinetic chain up, right? It's like a chain reaction up. Like, you're loading the hip, then the shoulder, then the elbow, then the wrist, okay? So you're gonna basically pull through the elbow or the scap. That kind of pulling through the elbow loads the scap. So that's your first thing to do, is to load the scap. And you want to get as much a load on the scap as you can, because the more you can pull back into your scap, the more time you're going to give your trunk to rotate. That's what that movement does, because there's these counter movements going on. And if I pull this scap all the way back, now I give my trunk more time to rotate. So we're loading the scap first. We're getting the elbow to just around shoulder height or just below. And we do want the arm at 90, because it lays back and accelerates in rotation better in 90. It's not going to rotate as well here, because you're not going to have leverage to pull it back. So it's always going to rotate better at 90. Now, people talk about going way inside 90. The problem is you get to a point where you go so far to inside 90, now it doesn't lay back as well, or it doesn't horizontally abduct or scap load as well. So I do like something right around 90. Obviously, just slightly inside 90 is a perfect place to cock and load the arm from there, so I don't lose a lot of the range of motion I can get in the arm. And then, like I said, it's just going to funnel from that point. So if I'm not going to go in how it funnels and how the arm supinates, pronates, incline rotates, external rotates, I just want you to understand, if you're going to create a good arm path, you need to first get good energy through your trunk, and you have to understand where to position the arm, which is loading the scap, elbow height, somewhere just inside 90 for flexion. Everything should be good at that point. If you want to talk about supination, pronation, If you're an early arm cocker, it would be more beneficial to be a little bit more supinated because you're gonna go quickly into external rotation. If you're a late arm cocker, it would actually the other way around. If you're an early arm cocker, you wanna be a little more pronated because you're trying to delay wanting to go into external rotation. If you're an early arm cocker, you wanna be a little bit more supinated. So hopefully I didn't confuse everybody on that. So you can play with this on timing of your arm. And the timing is gonna be when your shoulders rotate. When your shoulders rotate, your arm better be up. If your arm's not fully cocked, when your shoulders rotate, what's gonna happen is it's gonna drag your arm, hyperangulate your arm, and it's hard on your arm. So if this is 0 degrees of external rotation, this is 90, I need to make sure I'm at full 90 before rotation so my arm doesn't get out of sync, out of timing, and then I hurt the arm. Did I confuse him on that, or anything you can do to make it more clear?
No, so I think another thing that's good within a program is that's actually exactly what we work on when we're doing our med ball throws. We're working on getting into that layback and not getting too close and not getting too far. It's because, so we got the IR or ER, or external rotation, internal rotation throws, and then it's also the same motion when we're going through our separation throws. We're in a loaded cocking position with the elbow, getting horizontal abduction, working back. So I mean, that's a good piece, is just the med balls is a simple way to work on that arm cocking without having that extra added stress. Perfect. On the 2-pound med ball.
Yeah, I don't think people know that. Like our 2-pound med ball throws actually is a great way to teach the arm path. A lot of people don't see it that way, but it is because it keeps the arm flexed and loaded and engaged with the trunk, which is a healthier arm path. When the arm wants to get extended and separate and pull away from the trunk, we start to have more, it's a bad arm path, a high risk arm path, and we start to have injuries. So that's a good point. Med balls, learning our med ball systems and learning our arm path and techniques through our med balls really helps you understand how the arm works with the body or works with the trunk, because once again, studies show it funnels the energy from the trunk.
I mean, I've even worked with, I think 2 guys just in the last week who were always rotating out, getting long sidearm actions, and literally within the same week, I was doing the med ball throws, and then their parents text me like, I don't know what you did with the kid, but the kid's throwing over the top. He looks way better, way healthier. So it's just a simple way to add in more reps and get that better arm.
Yeah, and if you're seeing someone's arm flying out, once again, we said the arm receives energy from the trunk. So if it's flying out, that means the trunk's probably just rotating really hard, and that's the centrifugal force pulling it away. So if you want the arm to extend forward, then you have to throw the trunk forward, right? And then you just gotta make sure the arm was positioned correctly so it can more easily go to that position. So wherever you see the arm going to release, it's where the trunk is sending it. So really at the end of the day, you gotta fix the trunk if you're really gonna fix the arm. Next question we got here, how does head position affect velocity? So, you can always look at things top to bottom, bottom to top. I really like to understand the head on the pelvis. The pelvis is really the foundation here. So look, if I just sit here and I just move my pelvis around, look at my head, right? My head's staying in the middle, but if I start to really lean, like if I start to really push my pelvis out, look where my head goes. If I really start pushing my pelvis out, look where my head goes, right? That's just the counterbalance of maintaining balance in your body. So, if your head's all over the place and that's because your hips are all over the place. So I want to teach you to stabilize the hips under you, right? I want your hips up under you, not back away from you, up under you. Now your trunk is in a more contralateral position. Your head's in a contralateral position towards the left side, which is way better for velocity. And then as long as you maintain your hips under you, your head should stay in that perfect position of the target. But if you're seeing this, it's because my hips are doing this, right? It's not so much the head. So if you're really trying to fix the head, fix the pelvis and get the pelvis under you.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point, because 9 times out of 10 when I have new clients come in, it's usually they come into this anterior tilt position, which is chest heavy, and it's actually harder to get your hips through in the anterior tilt. So I mean, we believe in, just like he said, getting the hips under you, staying stacked, and then next thing you know, you're getting way more separation than before. It's because of your hip position, not so much your head.
So I think, right, so be careful going right to the head. You're probably way better off going to the hips and fixing your problems. And it's like that with everything, and that's what we really try to teach here at TopVelocity, is you're better off fixing it from the ground up. It's a chain reaction coming from the ground. So if you really have a problem, you gotta go downstream to fix your problem. Going upstream to fix your problem usually is overcompensation, and that always mostly leads to injury. All right, so that was great. If you have a question here, put your question below with the @TopVelocity #PitchAndTipShow. And we're excited to do more episodes, so keep them coming. We'll see you next time.